Hey, happy day 21 of our BP challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma, doing a health and lifestyle 90-day push to the end of the year, 90-day challenge. I personally am doing a blood pressure challenge. I need to get my blood pressure down in the next 6 months, and so I thought, what better way than challenged by my doctor, or I have to go on another prescription, challenge to say, okay, I need to physically do a health challenge. And to do a health challenge, I believe you need to do a lifestyle challenge. Any change that we really want to create in our life, anything we want to go for in our life, generally really requires some kind of a change, some kind of a habit or lifestyle or way of thinking change. And so a 90-day push is one of the fastest, easiest ways to create the result that you want. At least that's what I found in my experience with myself and with the people that I work with. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do a 90-day push. I'm going to get my blood pressure down. And if I'm going to do it, why not bring along other people and teach you the process of how to create anything you want in your life by setting up your own challenges for yourself. So today we're going to talk about, yesterday we talked about what are we going to test? What are we going to test to achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve in the 90-day challenge? Me, blood pressure. So I shared the 5 things I'm going to test over the next, batch of days. And we'll break it down into each of those groups. And now, so yesterday we decided what we're going to test, right? We came up with categories of what we want to do, what we want to test, what we want. Why do we have to test it? Well, we have to test it to find out if it works for us. Because guess what? We're all different, and what works for you might not work for me. What works for me might not work for you. So we have to use ourselves as our own science experiment, and we have to say, okay, I'm going to test this and figure out how I need to tweak it, what I need to do to get these things that I'm learning about to work for me. So what are we going to test? We talked about yesterday. Now today, let's just determine, and your assignment today, or your challenge today is going to be, decide how are you going to test the things you're going to test. Now we each know by now the group, and I said pick 5. We're going to pick 5 things that we're going to test. So we know what those 5 things are. So how are we going to test those? For example, for me, I've got, let me look at them so I don't mess them up. I've got mindset, movement, I wrote them on a card. It doesn't really matter. Mindset, movement, nutrition, miscellaneous, and so I think I wrote them in here. Yep. Magnifying glass, please. Mindset, movement, nutrition, supplements, and then basics like water, sleep, air, and all kinds of other things that don't really fit under one of the other categories. So, how am I going to test those things? How am I going to know? How will you know when you're getting a result? Now remember, a result can be good or bad. A result is any change or anything that's different. So how am I going to know? Because say under nutrition, I'm testing the amount of sugar that I consume. How am I going to know if it's having an impact on me or not? Well, if I feel worse or bad, then it's probably having a negative impact. If I feel good or better, it's probably having a positive impact. And I'll have to play with that to figure out what is the right amount of sugar or salt or some other supplement or nutrient, and how am I going to know how it's impacting me? Is it going to be how do I feel? How do I feel about it? Is it going to be, am I noticing physical positive changes in my body? Is it going to be, I have to see a reading and a change on the blood pressure cuff? What is it going to be for me? And I'm going to decide that as my assignment today. And you need to decide for you, how are you going to know? How am I going to know, for example, if I'm drinking too much water? Well, if water is one of the things I'm testing, if I'm drinking too much, I'm going to the bathroom all the time. And we can tell by the color of our urine, right? And if I'm not drinking enough, then I'm not going to the bathroom at all. I might feel bloated or sluggish or something, but you have to decide, how are you going to know? How are you going to test the thing that we're testing, or you're testing, I'm not testing it on you, and how are you going to know if there's a result? And again, if you start to get a bad result, we're going to stop doing what we're doing. If we start to get a good result, we're going to say, okay, is this the result I want, or do I need to do more of it? So today, our assignment, our challenge today is how to test the things that we're going to test, and how will we know if we get the result. Now, if you're doing a business or a different lifestyle challenge, your 5 things are going to be different, and how you test them are going to be different than how I'm doing it. I can grab a blood pressure cuff and I can use that as my test for everything if I want to. I can ask myself and tap in on a scale of 1 to 10, how do I feel? How does this make me feel? And I could do that. I can, what are some other ways I can do it? I can journal. I can document everything and look at what I'm doing exactly, and then find patterns in it and see if I'm having the results that I want. If you're doing, say you're quitting smoking, you'll pick different categories and you'll know different ways of how things make you feel. If you're doing a business challenge, say you want more sales or more leads, based on your things that you're testing, you'll know maybe it's an actual. I love the ones that are actually measurable and numbers, because you can say, okay, well, I either made 5 calls today or I didn't, or I either, depending on what your challenge is, maybe I got a funnel up, or I created a lead magnet. Either you did it or you didn't. I love those absolute ones, because you either got it done or you didn't. Either you took the action or you didn't. So for business things, it's really easy to do challenges, because you can make concrete steps and actions that you need to take, and either you did it or you didn't. Or say you have to make 10 calls, and you just track the number of calls. So you'd say you're going to make, one of your steps is to make 10 calls a day, or post 10 posts a day. On social media this day and age, we do a lot of posting. So if that's your thing, you just track how many you did. If you only did 7, you write 7, and you're like, okay, well, I didn't get the result I want because I only did 7. I didn't do 10. Whatever it is for you, the challenge today is to figure out, how are you going to test the element that we're working on, and how are you going to know if you're getting a result? And again, a result can be either good or bad. That's it. So yesterday you came up with your 5 things, so you know what you're going to test. Now kind of look at all of those and say, well, how am I going to test each of those? How, and not a big detailed plan, just as simple as we've talked about here. How are you going to test it, and how will you know? Because the more complicated you make it, guess what? It gives you another excuse, another reason to not do it. So I say keep it as simple as you possibly can. And maybe it is, you just ask yourself those 2 questions. Well, how am I going to test it? And then you start doing it. And then you ask yourself every day, well, how do I feel? How do I know that this is working or not working for me? And what can I do to tweak it so that I can find out if it's working or not working for me, to move me toward the goal that I'm trying to achieve in this 90-day challenge. That's it. Go out and make it an awesome day. I'll, of course, see you tomorrow. And we are going to get to work and start on our first area tomorrow, our first category tomorrow. And we're going to begin testing it on ourselves. So have an amazing day. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow.